Hi everybody, welcome back to another episode of Foxify Radio. Today I am very excited to be joined by Davinci Jeremie. Davinci, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I'm great to be here.
Perfect. No, great to have you. So Davinci, I think most people watching will probably know who you are, actually, given the fact that this is obviously a cryptocurrency podcast. You're very well known in the space, but just in case anyone doesn't, would you like to give a brief introduction?
Yeah, sure. I got into cryptocurrencies really early, about in March of 2011, because I was really actually studying our financial system and talking about gold and silver, how it was money. And then because I'm also a software developer and I studied monetary history, once I saw Bitcoin, I realized that this was going to change the world because now we have a monetary system that the governments can't mess with. They can't change. They can't cheat the public out of their wealth. And so I knew that it was going to be a game changer. In fact, I actually said that earlier on in my first videos. I said that every once in a while something comes along that makes poor people rich. This is one of them. And yeah, because they bought it really cheap. And yeah, I was right. I actually tried to beg some of my viewers to buy some Bitcoin because everybody hated it back then. They thought I was crazy. Actually, they thought I was lost my mind. And I said, hey, listen, I even offered the people that up to $1,000 of insurance if they bought $1,000 worth of Bitcoin. That if it went to zero, I'd pay them back their $1,000. That's how confident I was.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. And obviously that now, as a relatively famous video, in fact, and you're urging people to buy just $1, right? It's about 10 years ago
Yes.
or so, this video. How much was Bitcoin at the time? Do you remember?
It was actually pretty high. It was around $100, and because that was after the first. There was two blow off tops. One was at $32, and the other one was at 22.66, and then it dropped down to $50, and then back up to $1,300 in the same year. So yeah, it was in that time frame. I was trying to get people to see what I saw in Bitcoin, and they were laughing, saying, "I wouldn't even put $1 into Bitcoin." And I was just saying, "Well, you guys would spend more on a lottery ticket. This is just worthwhile, but just buying a small amount of this asset because it's going to be the money one day."
Yeah, absolutely. And I think many people say they were in Bitcoin early. I was fairly late. I'm, only a few years in, so fairly late in the grand scheme of things at the moment. Still early
Mhm.
overall, I think, but fairly late, obviously, versus
Yes.
many. And I think you're probably the earliest adopter actually that I've spoken to so far. So that that's it. I think it's amazing. It's great that you managed to get in so early. What was your thought process? Obviously, Bitcoin way back then, what was your thought process when you first heard about it? What sort of really piqued your interest and made you think actually that this is the next big thing?
Well, one of my YouTube subscribers sent me a message when YouTube had a messaging system installed, and they took it out. And I wish I had that message because that was a game-changing message there. And he said, "What do I think about Bitcoin?" And so I immediately went to search the website and looked at it, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is a scam. There's no way you can solve the double spend problem. I'm a software developer. This is BS." And I wrote him back saying, "Hey, you should stay away from this. There's no way that this is going to work. There's no way." Every single software developer knows that you can't solve a double spend problem, which is basically how do you have a digital asset and you know that I can't, if I send it to one person, I can't send it to another person at the same time.
Yeah.
So, like a movie or a music file, I could send it to many people, and there's no way to stop that. So, how do you do that with a digital asset such as money? Well, Satoshi came up with the solution. And when I read through the white paper, I was like, wow, this might work. And when I read through the source code, I was like, oh my God, this is definitely going to work. And yeah, I was quite surprised, and I knew it. I just felt like, yeah, this is going to work. I mean, if governments don't realize how this is going to destroy them, which they're too slow when it comes to technology. So, so there was not a problem there. And yeah, if I knew it was going to survive and thrive, to where it is today. And now no government can stop it. They're trying, but they will fail, just like they failed in the past when we invented the Gutenberg press, and they said every single government and in church who was against people having books. So that didn't work out too well for them.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Do you remember the price of Bitcoin when you first bought in?
Well, the lowest price I got was 67 cents.
Wow.
But I was only buying a few. Like I mean, I had like a receipt from PayPal. I bought it from PayPal, and it was 67 cents. However, I'm now that I think about it, there was faucets, Bitcoin faucets.
Yes.
And you could get free Bitcoin. So I did get some free ones. Now that I think about it, not many, but I did get some.
No, that's good. I mean, how did you feel, say, in the last bull run when it reached the highs of, what was it, around $69,000 or something? How did that feel, knowing how early you'd got in?
Well, obviously it felt great, but then again, I've been through a lot of these bull runs, and I knew it was just basically the same feeling as the last time. For me, it was not new, but then again, I was just partying with everybody else. This time, the 2021 bull run, I was partying a little bit more than normal. Right? When that guy came here to Dubai, it was crazy, and I kind of lost focus on you know what, you're in this bull run a little bit, and it's going to come to an end, which they always do because of the 4-year cycle. So I missed some key opportunities to take profits, but hey, you know what? It happens even to the best traders.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think, to be honest, Davinci, I'm fascinated by your story, just because you are the only person that I've spoke to that's genuinely been in so early. I mean, I remember when I first heard about Bitcoin, and I was probably in uni, like I was really young. I didn't really pay any attention to it. And I remember thinking it was just some sort of like, almost like a game, do you know, like a gamified version of currency. And I was like, why would people buy this? Like, what's the point? And because I was young, and at that age, you're not that financially literate, really, are you? And I was just like, I'm not even going to bother looking into this. And obviously, I think, like a lot of people, I kick myself now, knowing that I'd heard about it, did a little bit of research, and thought, actually, no, this is silly. So yeah, it's crazy to see how it is now, sort of 10, 12, 13 years later.
You weren't the only one back then. Back then, I mean, everybody was laughing, saying, "Oh my gosh, this is like some Magic the Gathering money," right? And I remember the guy who was actually kind of famous back then, was named Don Harrell. He had a very big YouTube channel, and he just disappeared. But he was saying it was magic internet money, and then he finds out a few days later that, oh my God, MTGOX, which is the only exchange at the time, happens to stand for Magic the Gathering Online Exchange. Yes, that's what MTGOX stands for. And so it didn't help, because it used to be Magic the Gathering trading place, right, for trading the cards. And so it was converted to actually buy and sell Bitcoin, and that's why just the name just stuck with it when it was converted.
Yeah, no, super interesting. Do you have any thoughts on Satoshi, who you think they or he or she might be? Do you have any thoughts around that? Obviously, that's one of the big mysteries of Bitcoin, is nobody actually really knows who invented it.
Well, I would speculate, based on the information I know, that he works for the NSA, and if I could figure that out, he's probably already dead. Now, what happened? How do I know that he worked for the NSA? Well, in the source code, there was something that was very strange. He chose a randomizer. Computers are not very good at coming up with random numbers, so there are different source codes designs, right, to come up with random numbers, and people have developed many different ones. And most of them, the good ones, the ones that you use every day, are certified, right? They're certified that there's no backdoor, there's no way to reproduce those random numbers, right, that the computer has generated. Well, turns out after Snowden leaked all these documents, one of the documents stated that the NSA had a backdoor to all the certified randomizers except the one that Satoshi chose. So the odds of him picking that, because he didn't choose a certified one, he chose some obscure randomizer that nobody was like, why would you choose that?
Yeah.
And that's the only reason why you'd choose that is because you had to have inside information in order to choose that, because you're not going to do that by accident.
Yeah. So you think Satoshi is dead now?
Yeah. Well, the reason why he stayed hidden is the same reason why I would have stayed hidden if I tried to develop the same product. In fact, I tried to do it myself, failed miserably, unfortunately. But yeah, technically I could be Satoshi, but no, I'm not. But yes, I tried to. Yeah. I would have done the same thing. I would have done the exact same thing, except I would have used a standardized randomizer. But anyways, I would have left a whole bunch of coins available for people to see if they could steal it from me, and remove the keys. The reason why is because you want to see if the theory works. So yeah, that's why there's 1 million Bitcoins as a bounty. So if you can hack the system, there's 1 million Bitcoins, and that proves that something's wrong. But that's why he did that. And also, he also understood monetary history. All the presidential assassinations that occurred in the United States was because of the banking system, just so you know, or even attempted ones too.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, yeah, it makes sense. I mean, I've worked in this space for probably about 18 months now, on the team for 2 different projects, and some of the messages, like obviously we're small, we're not Bitcoin, and some of the messages and stuff, and some of the hate, I suppose, for lack of a better word, that you can receive, and that's not even like say on like this international, almost like government scale. So you can see why he would want to be anonymous and why he would protect himself at all costs. So yeah, I don't think we'll ever know for sure who it is, but I think it's interesting to speculate, isn't it? And hear different views. So yeah, but so obviously, so you were in Bitcoin when that was only Bitcoin, and then we start to see the emergence of other blockchains and other cryptocurrencies.
I was there for that too.
Yeah, how was it when you started seeing these? Did you think they had the same potential? Did you buy into them early?
Well, I believed in Namecoin.
Emerging of new.
Yeah, I believe in Namecoin was one of the coins that I bought and then mined myself, like religiously, and I was supporting that only because it provided a decentralized DNS system, right? Which was created. The reason why we needed something like that is because the banks, the governments were like, attacking. They were attacking what's it called? The people who did WikiLeaks, right? That they took down their DNS name. You had to go to their IP address in order to get to them, because of the information that they had leaked to the public, Julian Assange. And so, yeah, I thought this was going to be a solution. And so I was mining that, and actually I started merge mining it with Bitcoin because it was converted to merge mine, meaning that you can mine both Bitcoin and Namecoin. And I didn't bother mining Litecoin. I wish I had have. Oh my goodness. Because I was there when Litecoin had zero value, zero, right? And people were saying, if you miss Bitcoin, right? This is when Bitcoin was like $2, $3 or something like that. If you missed Bitcoin, come into Litecoin, right? It was just starting off, right? You could get mine for free. It's going to be, and it was sold as Bitcoin's silver to Bitcoin's gold, right? Bitcoin's gold and Litecoin's silver, because there's a lot more, 4 times as much supply, and blah, 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 blah. So I didn't see the point, right? Because a Bitcoin can be divisible effectively to infinity, because it's a digital asset, right? You just need to program it in, get the visibility. But Yeah, so I didn't see the point of that, but yeah, market didn't care. The market wanted new cryptocurrency. They wanted to be somebody. They felt they missed the boat, and they wanted to jump in on something that was new, and that's why that started the kick off the craze of crypto
Yeah.
altcoins.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. I think, yeah, it's crazy to look at all of the, the different altcoins that have sprung up since and continue to do so. I mean, what are your thoughts on the more sort of direct Bitcoin offshoots, such as Bitcoin Cash? Did you invest into that?
Bitcoin Cash, I did not have to invest into it. I owned a lot because when it forked, I automatically had Bitcoin Cash. And so, yeah, I sold a lot of my Bitcoin Cash until I had nothing
Hmm.
once it pumped and then bought Bitcoin with that. so, yeah, it was free money for me, really. I was so happy.
Yeah.
Like, well, I'm hoping that they fork Bitcoin again. That's even more money for me. Because yeah, I'll
Yeah.
sell out
Yeah.
that fork
Definitely.
and
Yeah. Good. Good. No, it's honestly, I sit here just green with envy, to be honest, Davinci, that you've seen all of this firsthand and you got into it so early. What's your thoughts on like the Lightning Network? Do you think that has a place in Bitcoin's future? I mean, I think the general consensus is that it's needed for Bitcoin to be more efficient and more user friendly, I suppose. What's your thoughts on that?
the problem with Lightning Network, right? At first, I was supporting it, but the problem is you have to effectively lend somebody your Bitcoin in a sense. It has to be locked up when you're transferring it between two people. So if I want to set up a transfer, let's just say you don't have a Bitcoin, right, and you want to set up on the Lightning Network, great. And you want to get paid. So or in Lightning, right? So you have to basically get someone else to set up a loan of Bitcoin to you, so that they can actually send you a partial payment of that loan. So let's just say you got half a Bitcoin, right, as a payment. Well, I have to loan you either a full half of Bitcoin or more than that so that we can do transactions between each other. And that locks up my Bitcoin, right? So I can't
Yeah.
use it anywhere else. And so that's the problem, right?
Hmm.
And then let's just say I only did half of Bitcoin as a loan. So basically, it's just all the transactions all moved towards you, meaning that we've signed a contract stating on the Bitcoin network that, hey, I'm loaning you some Bitcoin, and then on top of that, I'm actually transferring on the Lightning network that Bitcoin to you when signing that agreement.
Hmm.
Now, once the agreement is signed, you have that agreement on your side, and you can cash that into the Bitcoin network. Now, the problem now is you need to get some more. Well, I might not have any Bitcoin to loan you, right? To
Yeah.
give you more. So you have to get it from somebody else,
Hmm.
right? Or if you want, you have to send some Bitcoin out, right? Now you send out 0.1 Bitcoin out, and then you want to receive now 0.25.
Hmm.
Well, you can't get it through my channel because my channel has 0.1 capacity to send you. You have to get it from someone else to 0.15 and because the way the Lightning Network works, you have to receive all of it, the 0.25 from that one channel. So
Hmm.
that means you have to go to another channel, open up another channel. If I can't do it, right? If I can't give you a loan, right? Because I have to have the Bitcoin in order to open up that loan. Even if it, even if the Bitcoin's coming from someone far away on the network, Lightning Network, it doesn't matter. I have to open up the channel with you or someone else, or that person who's sending it to you has to open the channel with you.
Hmm.
So that's the problem with the Lightning Network. That's that I see is a huge problem because a lot of it's going to centralize Bitcoin to the point where only people with Bitcoin will allow other people to come on the network. So
Hmm.
then there's the problem of smaller units. That is another huge nightmare Bitcoin on Lightning Network is divisible up to 1,000 decimal places. So if I only sent you a fraction of a Satoshi, that cannot be cashed out on the Bitcoin network. So if that can't be cashed out on the Bitcoin network, and you need to be forced the closing of the what's it called, the channel, what are you getting if you've only received maybe one half of a Satoshi? You get nothing.
Yeah.
On the Bitcoin network.
Sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how does that work? That's a big problem that hasn't been solved yet.
Yeah. No, they'll completely see what you're saying. And I think things like that are one of the problems that we face with, more mass adoption, I think. Especially like you say, what use of it if you can't actually transfer it to the Bitcoin network? It's essentially lost assets, lost capital, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Where do you see, and obviously you've been a massive supporter of Bitcoin for a very, very long time. Where do you see the adoption of Bitcoin? Do you think we're getting closer to mass adoption? Do you think we've still got some hurdles to overcome?
We're getting closer and closer to that point. There's going to be a day when the public finally gets it and goes, wait a second here. You mean to tell me I could transfer my wealth instantly across the planet? And when nobody will stop me? You mean to tell me I could travel with millions, billions, trillions of dollars worth of value and no one stop me? You mean to tell me that the value of the money that I will be holding will go up in value, not down? Why weren't we doing that before?
Yeah. It's so true.
Why did we see that?
Yeah, it's so
it's just gonna be like a stampede.
Yeah, it's so true. Honestly, I think it's crazy. Like, so I posted a tweet the other day, and it was just about inflation and how actually, like, if you're trying to save money, putting it in your fiat savings account, you're losing money. The purchase power of that money is less because of inflation and the interest rates. And obviously, with Bitcoin or any cryptocurrency, there's going to be ups and downs, and you can't guarantee that you time the market perfectly the first time. But for me, time in the market always overrides timing the market. And when you look at that versus the fact that your money is worth, I think it was like based on the UK average, it was 4.7% less if you left your money in savings for a year. That's like the purchasing power that you would lose. Why would you do that over something like Bitcoin, which has been proven time and time again that actually, it's cycle. It's limited in supply, right? They can't dilute your supply. They can't dilute your share of the pot. Yeah, I mean, once you understand it, I think it's a no-brainer. But it's just getting that knowledge and that understanding out there.
Yeah, the only issue I see with this stampede coming in is that the banking system. They've seen this rodeo before. They know how to handle it. They know how to cheat the people, and this is where the banks come into play. Now, if you store your money, which you consider as dollars or pounds or whatever your local currency in the bank, can I ask you a question? Is it your money?
Not really, is it?
No, it's the bank's money.
Yeah.
It's actually the bank's money. You lent it to them. And they can do whatever they want with it. Well, the same applies with Bitcoin, right? Once you give them custody of your Bitcoin, it's theirs. And if you don't believe it, keep in mind there's been a lot of lawsuits against banks stating that people were, they're told that, hey, you know what, their silver was stored there at the bank, and they were paying storage fees, but then the bank didn't have the silver, and then they sued and won. But the banks were like, why did we lose this lawsuit? This is industry-wide practice to not have the physical asset that we promised to hold for you. What the heck? And now you're telling me they're not going to do that with a digital asset? Please.
Yeah, it's crazy. And like you say, like, I don't think people realize, and I don't think I would have before I sort of got into maybe my mid to late 20s and tried to understand finances a bit more, I don't think people understand that when their money's in the bank, it's not theirs. Like you say, you're lending it to the bank, and the guarantee of that money coming back actually is never there. And you might have like government bodies and stuff that say they're going to back that, but if there's inflation, or the governments, as we've seen recently, the governments are in huge amounts of debt. Even that promise isn't a true promise, is it really? I think. And actually what Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies allow you to do is, with self-custody, is you're in charge of your own funds, right? You've got that autonomy, which is nearly impossible, other than stuffing it under your mattress. You can't really do that with fiat money.
Yeah, exactly. And then try taking out your money. You'll see. If you try taking out large sums of money, they'll be like, what do you need that for? We don't have that cash here in the bank. You're going to have to come back tomorrow or next week. And it's
Yeah.
not because they can't give it to you that same day. They can. It's just that they want to sell some other assets in order to come up with the cash that you need. This is why when you use bank transfers, it's like, oh, why are you doing that? Why are you transferring this? You're going to have to explain. Tell me everything. Oh, please explain why you have this money and who should be getting it? Why are they getting it? I'm like, what the heck? Oh, why am I explaining all this?
Yeah.
This is what's happening in our current banking system. I'm sure everybody's felt that. And this is why their demise is soon, when people realize that that's no more. When you own your Bitcoin, and you can send it to whoever you like, just like you do cash.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one anecdote of mine is, so I use Apple Pay for everything. I never carry my bank card because I don't carry my purse. So I've got my phone, so I use Apple Pay. And my bank has put in a restriction on how much per day I can spend on Apple Pay. But when I spoke to customer care, they wouldn't tell me how much that limit was. Which is insane, right? So I'll go out and I don't know if my card is going to be accepted or not, basically. Over, say, not a lot, maybe £100 or so. Anything over that, I don't know if they're going to accept it. And when I ask the bank, well, what is this limit? So I can, decide whether I need to take a bank card out with me. They won't tell me. It's variable. So they can just decide on a whim to stop my spending for that day of my own money. It's wild. And I think it's things like that, which is small everyday things that could actually impact, everybody. That's not just for like wealthy people or anything like that. Just small everyday things that really, make the case for Bitcoin or a more autonomous self-custody version of money abundantly clear. We need to be in control of our own assets, right?
Definitely. That's the key thing here, right? Be your own bank, control your own money, right? Just like you would keep it in your own wallet, in your own physical wallet, you'd hold your cash. You'd make sure that nobody tries to steal it and take it by doing secure things. And that's what you need to do with Bitcoin, because it's effectively cash, but you special kind of cash that you can transfer to anyone, anywhere around the world.
Yeah. No, completely agree. It's been a great conversation, Davinci. I do have one more question that I ask everybody. It's a little bit off topic, it's a little bit more personal. But if you had to pick the 3 biggest influences in your life, so 3 people who have made the most impact on you, who would you pick and why?
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, first one, right, was Ron Paul. He was the one who woke me up to the financial system and the truth of what was going on in the world, and I was quite shocked. Right. Then the next one would be actually Andrew Tate. Actually, I was quite shocked at what he was doing and what he woke me up to, and when it comes to relationships and people. So, and how to make money mostly. And then also Myron, who's a part of a Fresh and Fit podcast. And yeah, that was quite an eye opener to understand how modern women behave and move in today's society, when they receive all kinds of, validation, no matter how what they look like, from people messaging them, and so they act like they're little queens when they're barely fives or in the rating scale, beauty scale. It's like ridiculous. And so you see this, and so he explains how this is all part of a disastrous situation that's caused by social media and the internet. Yeah.
Yeah, I think social media generally speaking is quite negative, isn't it? I think there's many pros to social media, but also many
Yes.
cons. So yeah, but thank you so much for coming along. It's been a great conversation. It's been great having you. For anyone who'd like to find out more about Davinci, I'll pop his Twitter and his YouTube channels below, so you can have a look and find out more about his journey. But otherwise, thanks for coming, and we will speak to you soon.
Thank you.